Language barriers might seem like walls between cultures, but here's something fascinating. A simple question like, "Where are you from?" opens more doors than any other phrase in human history.
That's such an intriguing perspective, especially when you consider that this phrase is exchanged roughly 350 million times daily across the globe.
You know what's really remarkable about that statistic? In a recent linguistic study, they found that this question leads to conversations averaging 12 minutes longer than any other conversation starter. Let me tell you about something that happened in Tokyo. I was at this tiny ramen shop, and that simple question led to discovering the chef's son had lived just blocks from my apartment 20 years ago.
Well, that reminds me of research from the International Communication Institute showing how these origin questions create what they call connection cascades, where one shared point leads to discovering multiple unexpected links.
Speaking of research, here's something fascinating. Linguists have documented over 47 different ways to ask this question in English alone. In corporate settings, people tend to use more elaborate phrases like, "Which market do you represent?" While in casual settings, it might be as simple as, "Where you from?"
Hmm, that makes me think about how digital nomads are completely reshaping these conversation patterns. Have you seen the latest data on remote work's impact on cultural identity?
Oh, absolutely. The Global Workforce Report shows that 43% of remote workers now give complex, multi-part answers when asked about their origin. Like this tech developer I met who said, "Well, I'm originally from Singapore, but I've been coding from 4 different continents this year alone."
That's exactly what researchers at Stanford were studying. They found that traditional concepts of geographic identity are becoming increasingly fluid, with 67% of young professionals identifying with multiple home locations.
You know what's particularly interesting about this evolution? The way it's affecting language learning. Studies show that students who master different variations of this question show a 40% higher rate of successful cross-cultural communication.
Well, that connects perfectly with what cultural anthropologists are seeing. These conversations are becoming more like cultural bridges than simple exchanges of information.
Let me share something surprising from the latest Global Communication Index. They found that conversations starting with, "Where are you from?" are 3.5 times more likely to lead to business partnerships or meaningful friendships than any other opening question.
That's fascinating. And it ties into recent neurological research showing how discussing our origins activates the same brain regions associated with storytelling and emotional connection.
Speaking of emotional connections, here's something that really caught my attention. In international business settings, this question has evolved into what negotiation experts call a trust accelerator. Companies are actually training their teams on the cultural nuances of asking about origin.
Well, that makes me think about how technology is changing these interactions. Virtual reality meetings are creating new contexts for these conversations.
Exactly. And get this, tech companies are now developing AI algorithms that can recognize and suggest culturally appropriate ways to ask about someone's background based on contextual cues. It's like we're entering this new era of digitally assisted cultural intelligence.
That's bringing up an important point about privacy and cultural sensitivity. How do we balance curiosity with respect?
Well, recent studies from the Cultural Communication Institute show that the most successful cross-cultural conversations happen when people follow what they call the 60-second rule, waiting about a minute into the conversation before asking about origin. It creates this natural, comfortable flow.
That really aligns with what social psychologists are finding about building authentic connections across cultures.
And here's what I find most compelling about all this. In our increasingly divided world, this simple question continues to be one of our most powerful tools for building understanding. The data shows that personal origin stories create empathy at rates 80% higher than any other type of conversation.
Well, that brings everything full circle. How something as simple as asking where someone's from can literally reshape our understanding of humanity.
Looking ahead, experts predict these origin conversations will become even more crucial as our world becomes more interconnected. It's not just about where we're from anymore. It's about where we're all going together.